There is one silent test that can reveal exactly where you stand with a woman. Most people never notice it. And the interesting part is that she often doesn't even realize she's giving the signal. It's not about what she says, how fast she replies to texts, or even how much eye contact she makes. The real signal is much simpler. It's about where she allows you to touch her. Physical space and touch often reveal far more than words ever could. A study published in 2012 in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior mapped which parts of the body people allow others to touch. The results were surprisingly clear. Strangers were allowed almost no physical contact. Acquaintances were allowed slightly more. But intimate partners had access to nearly every zone of the body. Even more interesting, the study found that women's touch maps were far more restricted than men's. Women tend to be more selective and more conscious about who gets access to different parts of their body. Touch matters because it is the oldest form of communication humans have. Long before babies understand language, they understand warmth, pressure, and contact. That means touch often bypasses logical thinking and goes straight to emotional instinct. People can fake smiles, words, or even laughter, but instinctive reactions to touch are much harder to fake. From a neurological perspective, women are also generally more sensitive to social signals. Research shows that the female brain tends to have stronger connections between the left and right hemispheres, which allows emotional and social information to be processed more deeply. This means women are often very aware of the meaning behind physical contact, even if they aren't consciously thinking about it. When touch is welcome and feels safe, the brain releases oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. This chemical increases feelings of trust and connection. But if touch is unwanted, the body can instead release stress hormones like cortisol. That's why someone's reaction to touch, leaning in, staying relaxed, or pulling away, can reveal their comfort level immediately. The first and most neutral zone is the hand. Hand contact is socially acceptable almost everywhere. A handshake, passing an object, or briefly brushing fingers during conversation can happen between strangers. But small details matter. If she holds your hand slightly longer than necessary, lets her fingers rest near yours on the table, or doesn't move her hand away, it can signal curiosity and comfort. The wrist is slightly more personal. The inner wrist is a vulnerable area because the skin is thin and the veins are visible. Evolutionary psychology suggests that exposing the wrist can signal openness and trust. When someone allows wrist contact without pulling away, it often means they feel safe in your presence. Next comes the shoulder or upper arm. This area is commonly touched among friends, co-workers, and family members. On its own, it doesn't necessarily indicate romantic interest. However, the pattern matters. If a woman repeatedly touches your shoulder when laughing, getting your attention, or during positive moments, it can indicate emotional comfort and closeness. The back is where things become more meaningful. The upper back, between the shoulder blades, is usually a comfort gesture. People pat someone's upper back to show support or reassurance. But the lower back is different. A hand placed gently on the lower back is often used when guiding someone through a crowded room or standing close together. Because this area is rarely touched casually, it often signals a higher level of trust and familiarity. Moving further into personal territory, the neck is one of the most vulnerable parts of the human body. Across many cultures and throughout history, exposing the neck has been associated with trust and openness. When someone tilts their head slightly or feels relaxed when their neck is near someone else, it can indicate a deep level of comfort. Hair is another interesting zone. Hair is usually touched only by close friends, family, or romantic partners. When someone allows you to touch their hair or casually touches yours, it can indicate emotional closeness and comfort with physical proximity. Finally, there's the face, which is perhaps the most personal zone of all. Even in professional settings like medical exams or massages, facial contact is treated with care. Allowing someone to touch your face, adjust your hair near your forehead, or brush something off your cheek requires a high level of trust. When someone leans into that touch rather than away from it, it often reflects emotional intimacy and safety. However, one important mistake people make is interpreting a single moment as a clear signal. A single touch can happen for many reasons. What truly matters is the pattern. Repetition, escalation, and initiation are the real indicators. If someone repeatedly initiates contact, becomes more comfortable with closer touch over time, and does it naturally without hesitation, it often reflects growing trust and comfort. At the same time, it's important to remember that signals are information, not permission. Understanding body language should never be used to rush or pressure someone. The most meaningful connections develop when trust grows naturally, and both people feel comfortable moving forward at the same pace. In the end, touch is not just physical contact. It's a powerful form of emotional communication. The places people allow others to touch reflect how safe, comfortable, and connected they feel. When you understand that, you begin to see human interaction in a completely different way.